Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is DeeB-CPC with my medical coding journey. Before we jump into the topic for today, I did want to mention that I did change the name of my channel. It used to be My Medical Coding Life, and I came up with that because I wanted to show you my journey, everything leading up to my certification, as I mentioned in my first video. Without realizing that there is someone already with a similar name. So I went ahead and changed it. It's perfectly fine. And the thing is, this is a woman that I follow already on YouTube. When I was getting my certification and looking for information on YouTube, she was one of the channels I watched. I watched her main channel, CodeMaster Coach. But she has a secondary channel that I'm not subscribed to, My Medical Coding Life or something like that. So it was very similar names. I will link her information in her channel down below because she is one of the resources I would have mentioned down the line anyways. My channel is going to be more in the beginning, like I said, about telling the story. It's like a story time. And as I mentioned in my first video, I'm not a coder yet. I haven't found employment as a coder, but I will update as I go. That's still the goal for me ultimately, even though you can use your certification in different ways, which I'll talk about. Not in this video, but in a future video. I got into medical coding to be a coder. That's what I enjoy the most. But for today, we are going to get into how I found out about medical coding. And the story starts in the 90s. A lot of commercials about medical billing and medical coding from different trade schools in my area. And at that time, you know, the 90s is a long time ago. I was younger. I wasn't paying it any attention. I was just aware of it. It was always there in the back of my mind that this is something that could be done. But I didn't have a lot of information about what exactly a coder does or what a biller does even. So for my background, it's customer service. Beginning in 2008, I decided to work from home. I found out that it was an option. There was a local company in my area hiring across the nation, nationwide hiring for work-at-home customer service agents. So that's when I got into that. And that continued until 2016. And there are reasons for that. I'm an introverted person. I think that's where we left off. I'm very introverted. I do have issues with anxiety, things like that, and social situations. So I always thought it was best for me to work at home. And in the sense, even though you're working for an employer, you are in control of your productivity. It's all up to you. And there's limited times where you can be micromanaged and someone's over your shoulder, and all of the things that come with office politics and office gossip, all of those things you're shielded from. It worked for me. However, the pay was very limited, and at my last work at home position, it was the lowest pay of all my options. But the reason why I stayed with them as long as I did, which was 6 years, was that I could make my own hours. I could work however much I wanted to. So if I wanted to put in a 14-hour day, I could, and I often did. At different points of my time being with them, I was working all the time. There was nothing else to my life, but you had to because it was such a low pay. And this is a channel for medical coding, so I'm not going to get into that particular company. But I was a contractor. There were no benefits. I was responsible for all of my medical expenses and things like that. And I can't stress enough how low the pay was. So the lowest pay I've ever had. And I stayed for such a long time because I was so done with working in an office and being a part of a corporate culture. Honestly, it felt like I was a contractor, so I was working for myself, you know, and I was, I had an LLC, you were required to. So I was my own business owner in a sense, even though it was a sole proprietorship LLC. This is a lot of information, but I'm telling the full story. So I love the independence, and I was able to move out of state and take my job wherever I wanted to go. So that's why I loved it. I loved working from home, but there was an understanding it was no longer sustainable for many different reasons. I just couldn't do it anymore. I left them December 2016. It was New Year's Eve that I left, and because it's so flexible, it's like, okay, like, you're gone, bye. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I have to give 2 weeks notice or anything like that. It's like, okay, I just decided I was done. There was something I saw on Twitter that prompted me to leave them, and it was just like, I don't want to go into the new year 2017 working at this job. So this December 31st I left, and I was already halfway out the door because, again, it wasn't sustainable. I was living in a place where, you know, you can't have background noise and things like that. It was August of 2016. I took a course for medical coding. And the thing is, I was aware of it back in the 90s, but I was just trying to figure out, what can I do where I can still work at home, but have a higher pay, something that can sustain me. And because during that time I was working at home, I was picking up other gigs. So I was working with different companies while I still maintained this main thing. I could always come back to that job and make my own hours and do other things on the side. So during that time, I started really seriously thinking about, what else can I do? Because this is not going to work. And there were a few different things that I explored, and I worked my way back to medical coding. I started how I do any of my searches for information, which is the internet. I came to YouTube and found out more information about what exactly is involved with medical coding. And I decided that was it. This is my thing. This is the thing that I'm going to pursue. And that's what drew me to it. That idea that you could actually work at home doing this work. That was the draw. That's what got me. So I took a course, and everything started to fall into place. I just happened to be enrolled in a free online course, university. They call it a free university, through the library system where I lived. And you could sign up for different courses free of charge. And I signed up for a course previous to that I was doing, and I just happened to see that they were offering Intro to Medical Coding there. I decided to hop on Amazon and just buy the ICD-10 book, which is one of the manuals that is necessary to do our job as coders. And I decided to get the older edition, so there was a discounted rate because I just wanted to see what it was like and just see what it's all about. Just learn. Again, I had no prior knowledge, really, no hands-on experience with coding, no healthcare industry experience, and started to review it, and I would compare it with information from the free course. And they didn't require us to buy any manuals or anything like that. They were just giving you information about what it is to be a coder. They did go over guidelines, just very introductory information. and I finished that. It was self-paced, so I took my time with it. I didn't feel pressured in any way, and then I finished it, I believe, March of the following year, 2017. I decided to leave my work at home position, and I was starting off 2017 with the idea that I was going to pursue medical coding, and I was also going to start working outside of the home. So I had to pursue outside work, so I decided to find work within the healthcare industry. Anything that would give me an edge for the future. So anything that would help me with employers, with my resume. Of course, I have a background in customer service, so I looked for customer service positions that were within healthcare. And then later on in the summer of 2017, I signed up for a training course, and it is more of a casual channel. I'm just talking, we're just talking and just going through it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.